In today's video, we're going to talk about pros and cons of having a light on your pistol. I'm going to give you my admittedly amateur opinion about what I think about it, and we're going to take a look at a good choice for a light on a pistol, the Inforce APLc for Glocks. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, it's becoming increasingly popular to mount a light underneath the barrel of a pistol. I actually went to a firearms training class with it was geared towards law enforcement that Justin Vidito put on several weeks ago close to my house here, and I was the only non-law enforcement person there. One thing I noticed was that every single one of the police officers that I was training with had a light on their duty weapon. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, why that might not be applicable in a civilian application. Now we're going to talk about why I think that a light can be a good thing, but from my personal amateur civilian opinion, some of the drawbacks and the things you got to really think about. And we are going to take a look at this Inforce APLc for the Glock that the folks at Inforce were kind enough to send me. And we're going to do all that right after this word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Big Daddy Unlimited. Big Daddy Unlimited is a membership-based buyers club, and as a member, you have the ability to buy pretty much anything you can think of related to guns and ammo and shooting at wholesale pricing. And right now you can get a 30-day trial membership for 99 cents a month. After that it's $10 a month, and if you buy very much at all, you're going to more than pay for your $10 a month. So anyway, I'm a member and it's definitely saving me money. I'll put a link in the description below and one right up here. You can go check them out for the first month for just 99 cents. See if you think it's going to be a good deal for you. I know for me it was. Okay, we're back, and real quick, I should say thanks to all the channel sponsors. If you haven't checked out the sponsor list in the video description, I encourage you to do so. There are coupon codes for some of them, and they're all companies that I know and trust and really believe in, and I'm glad to have them as sponsors for the channels. So let's talk about lights on pistols, and as we do that, we're gonna take a look at the Inforce. Inforce is a USA company, made in the USA, and these are one of the few light companies that actually make things in the USA, which I think is pretty cool. So the Inforce APLc for the Glock is specifically designed to fit on a Glock. They also have versions that fit on other pistols. So as I said, I went to an advanced pistol class with some law enforcement officers a few weeks ago, and every single one of the people in the class, except me, had a light on their duty weapon. And that really got me to thinking about the differences in training and differences in requirements and carry and things to think about between from a civilian standpoint and a law enforcement standpoint. And that may be another video, but one of the things we are going to talk about is the difference in the flashlight part of it, and why if you're going to carry a light on your gun, there's something that's really critical that I think you got to have. But first, let's talk about the Inforce APLc Glock. And here it is. You can see it's really small and it's designed to fit perfectly on a Glock pistol. They also, as I said, have versions for other pistols, but this, you notice there's no clamp or anything here. This thing is absolutely streamlined, and it mounts on there, and it's designed to be put on and not come off with a clamp. So, and the way that works is you can see a little screw on the side here. You just pull that little screw out and take it all the way out. And I don't have a screwdriver. I've got my little Swiss Army knife here, which is the handiest thing since peanut butter. So just take that little screw out. Take it all the way out. Then you'll notice there's a little notch underneath your Glock. This thing is designed to fit exactly, to slide on, and then you slide it back until the hole lines up with the notch, and push the screw through, like so. Then you tighten it up, like so. So you'll notice that this light does not extend past the barrel, so it's very compact. Oh, by the way, just so you don't get scared, there's no magazine and no round in there, right? Okay. And then you'll also notice that nothing's happening when I push the button. That's because of the very handy lockout feature on this light. What you don't want to happen is this thing to be accidentally engaged or activated in storage, or if you're in shipping or whatever. So you can just turn it counterclockwise, loosen it up a quarter of a turn, and it won't come on. But if you tighten it back up all the way, it comes on when you hit it. And that is a 200 lumen light. Uses a CR2 lithium battery with a maximum runtime of 1.5 hours total time on the battery. So talk about the light just a little bit. It features a constant on and a momentary. To get the constant on, you just click it one time and let it go, and it's on. If you want the momentary, then just hold it for longer than like a second, and when you let go of it, it goes off. That's it. I like the fact that it's perfectly situated to touch with my finger. Hopefully you can see that. They have a little bit of a grip right there. It's a very, it's almost like grip tape. It's textured so much. It's definitely stippled maybe. So it's not going to slip your hand. I mean, it's almost like you can't slip it if you try. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be helpful for you know, if your hands are wet or if you're wearing gloves or anything else. It's just gonna grab it and go. And it's ambidextrous, so either hand works. I just really like that. It weighs just 1.87 ounces. Or for those of you still stuck in that old metric system, that is 53.2 grams. And it's just, man, you can see that's so compact. Okay, so that's the specs and details of the Inforce APLc Glock weapons light. Now let's talk real briefly about the pros and cons of having a light on your pistol. And the one thing I think you got to do and you got to have if you choose to put a light, mount a light on your pistol. First of all, as I said, I was in a class a few weeks ago with a lot of law enforcement officers. They all had lights on their pistols. That being said, it really got me to thinking that they are in a different situation than you or I as civilians, because they are often called upon to point said pistol at an individual that they hopefully have no intent of shooting and no desire to shoot, because that's their job. Just like they have to go into dangerous situations where you or I hopefully can run away from dangerous situations if at all possible. Therefore, whether or not what the police do is really not necessarily relevant to what you or I do. So, could it be handy to have a light on your pistol? Sure it could. It's going to help eliminate your target better, where you can get a better sight picture and hopefully be more accurate. But one thing that is really critical is we talked about target. You need to identify the target before you point the pistol at it. What are the 4 rules of gun safety in no particular order? Number 1, treat every firearm as though it were always loaded. Number 2, keep your finger off the trigger until you are sure of your target and ready to destroy it. Number 3, don't let the muzzle or the barrel of your pistol pass across or point at anything you are not willing to destroy. And number 4, be sure of your target and what is beyond it, because sometimes those little pesky bullets go right through there. So if your primary light, the only light you're carrying, is the one under your pistol, then you're using that light to identify targets, then you're automatically muzzling everything you're looking at, whether or not it is a target. Therefore, it is critical. If you're going to put a light on a pistol, you need to have a handheld light. Now, we're not talking about operators clearing houses in Afghanistan. We're talking about you, most likely in your own house, checking on that noise, that bump in the night that your wife heard. You need a separate flashlight, whether it's in your home or whether it's on the street, whatever. The point being that you use your handheld flashlight to identify potential targets. When you have identified a target and determined that, yes, I may need to put some rounds down range into that target, then you can point your weapon light and your weapon at it. Until then, you use your handheld light. Look, you don't want to be muzzling and flagging your son or daughter or relative or somebody that you don't want to shoot in your house at night or anywhere, really. You don't want to be flagging anybody. So if you're going to put a weapon light on, make sure you always have a handheld light. Actually, I just reviewed the Inforce light recently. I think it's a TPX. I have to look that up, but you can check it out. It's a very good light. I really like it. I'm using it a lot more lately. Also, the Surefire Tactician, which was designed with some input from James Yeager, is another really excellent handheld fighting light. That's actually the one I carry most of the time. Anyway, the one thing I really want to get across is very critical. This is a cool light. There are some other cool lights. I like the fact this is made in the USA. It could be very handy to have a light on your pistol, no doubt. But if you're going to do so, you absolutely must have a separate handheld flashlight, and that is what you use to look around. And you still cannot ignore the rules of gun safety. You cannot use this thing like a flashlight. It is not a flashlight. It is a pistol light. It's designed to point at the same place that this hole in the end of this thing that goes bang is. As long as you follow that rule, you're going to be fine with a pistol light. If you're not willing or not able to do that, then don't put one of these things on your gun. It's that simple. But if you are willing to do that and you decide to put one of these on your gun, you could do a lot worse than this Inforce. This is a really nice, made in the USA, very, very handy, simple, not a bunch of doodads on it. It just fits perfectly on a Glock pistol. And again, they have the versions for the other ones. And they also have this in flat dark earth and in addition to black. And I just like it. I think it's a very useful, very handy, non-complicated thing to have. So hopefully this has been helpful. So again, thanks to the folks at Inforce for sending me this so I can show it to you. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. I put out a brand new video every Friday and Saturday, and very often random videos throughout the week. There's another one right there. If you're not subscribed, you can click in the corner, click that subscribe button and that little notification bell, and you won't miss a single video. Again, be sure and check out the channel sponsors in the video description. Some of them have the discounts, and all of them are companies I know and trust. I really appreciate your support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.